Hello everyone. We would like to invite you to our today's session about modularity. How granular do you want to go? A guide to modularity in production technology. Thank you for spending your time with us today. My name is Jakob Dück and I'm Industry Segment Manager for Machinery at Harting. And today with me is Mr. Heiko Meyer. He is a product manager for industrial connectors.
Hello.
We are speaking today about machinery or about mechanical engineering in general. And of course, we would like to speak also about our products. But the general idea is also to understand what is going on in mechanical engineering industry. And this is the reason why we would like kindly ask you to one short survey or short to invite you to participate in 2 short surveys. We would like to ask you as the first question, in which area do you work? The possible answers are in machinery, mechanical engineering industry, robotics, maybe transportation, energy, or distribution. It would be interesting for us that we can go deeper in our answers on your needs and to see what is your needs in generally and to understand what is your needs. And I see that most of you coming from machinery or mechanical engineering companies. And the second question is, what is your job function? The possible answers here are mechanical development, electrical development, purchasing, service, or maybe management. So the main idea, I'm looking for the answer for that. Thank you here. So we are seeing here that the R&D electrical development is the most of you who are there. Thank you so much for your feedback. So now we start with the presentation of the modularity approach. And the first issue is, maybe you ask you, and we are, why Harting is speaking about modularity in generally. You know better than me that you have a challenge every day, because the challenge is that the customer are requesting for different types of machines, of different variants of your machines, your equipment, but at the same time, you have the challenge that the number of modules and the number of units and processes what you are using in your machinery manufacturing plant, you would like to have it as small as possible. And this picture from Professor Dr. Günther Schuh from Technical University in Aachen in Germany, one of the known technical university here, shows this challenge. The upper funnel shows that the customer requirements are growing every day, and the same day you have to have as small numbers as possible in your manufacturing plant. So in general, that means that to master this complexity, you have to go in the direction of modularization approach. The second page, what we would like to share with you, is the business case. What is the advantage of modularization approach? And you see here on this slide that companies who are dealing with higher level of modularization index are more successful than the companies without modularization approach. And this is the reason, or the result of this slide. You see that companies, modularization allows to be more successful in your business. I would like to switch to a short toy bricks. I think everybody of you knows this toy bricks. And what is the idea of these bricks? The idea is the modular approach in perfect way. But otherwise, if you see these bricks, if I will put this together without any connection pins, it doesn't work. The ingenious idea here is that the interfaces, the connection between the bricks, is the most important topic. And these connections, interfaces on the physical layer gives you the possibility to connect it in different ways, in different shapes, and so on and so on. I have here two bricks with an original interfaces. Maybe it's not visible, you have to believe me. And the second one is non-original. And the problem what I get if I try to connect it together with non-original is I'm not really happy with that. And this is the idea behind of this. We as HARTING, we are a manufacturer of physical layer interfaces for power connectors, for data connectors, for signal connectors, for every type of connections on the physical layer. And this shows the importance of this physical layer. And my idea today is to show why we as HARTING, as manufacturer of this physical layer interfaces, are so important for you. And now I would like my colleague to explain what is in general the idea behind of our connectors. Heiko, please.
Yeah, thank you, Jakob. HARTING is well known for connectors. So first of all, I will show a short overview about our portfolio. We have small connectors, circular, data connectors, and also bigger ones. Aluminium housings, stainless steel or plastic housings. Different versions for nearly any kind of connector solutions are available. But first of all, the customer have to answer the question, do he use a connector or is he using hard wiring? On the first view, hard wiring is cheaper, don't need so much space than a connector. As you can imagine here, a connector is bigger than just a cable gland. But if you take a more detailed look on this, you will see that the connector has significant advantages. Most important thing is that you can test your machine in your plant and you know that the machine is running correctly when you install it at your customer's site. You don't need to test, you don't have to find failures and have to make failure analysis. This is a most important thing. But of course, some other things are a benefit for you because nearly everybody can install a connector. You don't need expensive electrician stuff and so on. And you can be sure that the machine is running correctly. So altogether, this saves time and costs. This was a short overview about what we do with our connectors, and I will give back to Jakob.
Thank you so much, Heiko. Thank you. The next point what I would like to underline is that modularization in generally is not really new. It is a known approach, and it's not a top secret that car manufacturers, for example, are using this approach since years and years. It is not a secret that, for example, Volkswagen Group, a known German manufacturer, is doing that so-called platform approach for cars. And for example, a car like Volkswagen Golf, a really known small car here in Europe, has absolutely the same technical layer or technical platform like engines, axles, and some different other units. But otherwise, with the car, Volkswagen Golf has the same technical units as, for example, Seat Leon from the Spanish company. And, but otherwise, these two types of cars are looking totally different. And the main issue is that they cater different tastes and needs of the customers. So the customer has choosing between total different cars, total different shapes, colors, seats, and so on and so on. But we would like to come back to mechanical engineering, to machinery. We would like to show you this modularization approach based on machining center. This picture you can see also on our website. This machining center is a machine for like a turning machine or a lathe or fraise. Machining center for metal, as a metalworking machine. And I will show you only a small overview of a wiring diagram. And this wiring diagram shows only a small part of power units. And you can imagine how complicated this machine, this electrical stuff can be. Because you can see that behind of every motor, of every powered unit, you have sensors, actuators, safety elements, and so on and so on. So that means if you start to make different variants of this machine without any plan, without any modular approach, you will have a lot of problems to meet the requirements of the customer. What is the idea behind of that? According to our expectation with our successful customers, the customer are dealing this in following way. I came back to our picture, and the main idea is that the customer is dividing this in three types of functions or three types of modules. The first one are modules, so-called key modules with key functions. These key functions have the core know-how of your as machinery manufacturer. The second group is the function with the so-called ground basic functions. These functions are also absolutely important and critical, but this is not the core know-how of machinery equipment manufacturers. And last but not least is the group of add-on functionality, like conveyors, like robots, and similar issues. And on this step, you have to ask how deep you would like to go, or how deep it is necessary to divide these groups, single groups, deeper in single modules to meet two requirements. First of this requirement is how many different variants you have to deliver to your customers. You have to give the answer on this first question. Of course, you as a machinery manufacturer are the expert, especially for this customer needs, customer requirements, and customer variants based on your experiences with your customers, of course, in your industry segment. And the second question is, you have to say, okay, what is the needs in my own production plant, For example, I would like to manufacture some parts in one part of my manufacturing plant, and the second part in the other manufacturing plant in other hall, and I would like to connect it later together. And this is the idea behind of these two types of questions you have to work with that. How you can deal this? Our recommendation or our experience with our successful customer is that you have to build up a kind of matrix. Here I show only one small part, for example, the tool changer, and we have here a motor, a brake, encoder, and sensor, and from all of these types of electrical elements, you need, of course, interfaces, like already mentioned for bricks. And on the right side, you have to show what kind of required connectors or connections you need on the general level. And in the best way, in the next step, you have to show what kind of interfaces are necessary. And based on this matrix, you see, or on this table, you see, for this single element, I need all these type of connections and all of these types physical interfaces on the physical layer. And after that, you have to do this for all type of modules you have. Based on that, on this matrix, you can discuss with all other departments like purchasing department, mechanical R&D department, service department, after sales department, and to discuss, is it the proper way to handle this as a modular system? We as Harting, and this was the idea to show you especially these bricks, we can guarantee that it is equal in what way and how deep you are going in your modularization approach. We can guarantee you that we can offer you every type of physical layer interfaces. That means electrical, electromechanical interfaces for power connections, for data connections, for signal connections, pneumatic connections, optical connections, and so on and so on. And that we can guarantee you that you will have no influences on the functionality of your modules, of your system. And now I would like to go back to Heiko, and we will go deeper in our connectivity approach with our connectors and so on. Heiko, please.
Yeah, thank you, Jakob. We could see that such modular machine designs have really considerable advantages, and the connector is an important point of this. For example, the Han-Modular series would be a perfect match for such a machine, and therefore I will show you some more details. Harting has invented this series approximately 25 years ago, and now it is the market standard for industrial connectors. For those who don't know this series so far, we have prepared a short video, and now we play this video to introduce this. Yeah, you could see that it's easily possible to combine 2, 3 or more connectors into one. This, of course, has significant time savings and space and cost savings. But there are sometimes some concerns. Is it allowed or is it safe? And yeah, I can answer this very easily. Yes, it is allowed and it is safe. And to show and explain this, we have prepared a short list of responsible connector specs and application specs. I want to introduce and tell you some words about it. As you can see here, the most relevant connector specs are the DIN EN 61984. This is a connector safety specs, which describes how to build a connector. And there's another spec for installation coordination, which is a general spec for nearly all electrical equipment. And then we have the safety spec for the degree of protection, mainly for the housings, IP rating. And if you take a more detailed look on the standards which refer to the combination of power, data, and signal, it is the DIN EN 60204/1. This is the most important spec for nearly all machine builders, safety of machinery. And in this spec, you will see also a paragraph which describes conduits, conductors of different circuits. And in this paragraph, it is described how to do this, and there you can see that it is allowed. If you think about conduits, cable trunks, multi-conductor cables, and even control cabinets, you will see that at such places, different electrical circuits are combined into one unit. There's also another paragraph which describes some details about plugs and sockets, and we guarantee that all our connectors fulfill those specs in detail. Okay, this was some theory. Now let's take a more detailed look on some practical applications. Therefore, I want to introduce some applications in a modular machine cell. Here we have a machine cell which was built by the HARTING tool shop. Those machines are built up modularity, and within the machine we have also some modular segments. For example, the robot unit, the control unit, and other parts of the machine are designed in a modular way. Even the main power supply is done in a modular way with a HARTING connector. So I can open this. The sound was a pneumatic module. It was not under load. The electrical modules are switched off. Just only the pneumatic module had some load on it. As you can see here, there's a modular connector with power, pneumatic, and some data, and some space for future options. So I can close this also very easily again. And then the machine can run again. So as you understand here the use of our connectors, I can show you those connectors a bit more in detail. Here we have a short overview about the Han-Modular series. This is a sample case with nearly more than 100 modules, frames, hoods, and housings. if you take a more detailed look, you will understand the system quite easy. We have here power modules, we have frames. You can take a module, you can open the frame, put in the module, and close it. Quite easy, and you can combine this power module with other power modules and other signal or data modules. For example, I have taken here a 70 amp module for power, but we also have many other different options. This is a 300 amp module. This is the highest power module we have so far, but we also have other options for high voltage or, let's say, standard 16 amps. So you can put all those modules into the frame and combine them to a complete connector. You can combine, of course, also signals within those frames. This is a signal module with 36 pins, 5 amps and 32 volts. So very high contact density. I put it in. And of course, you can combine it also with some data modules. This is a classical RJ45 connector module, also suitable. For data connections, we have different options. This is the most common solution, but we also have some other solutions. For example, a gigabit module, which is very robust, mainly developed for applications in the railway industry. Here we have also the option to connect it up to Cat7a 10 gigabits. In addition to those data modules, you notice already the pneumatic solutions which is existing in this series, and we also have some optical connections available. So anything you can imagine is possible within this series. And of course, we extend this series by new demands for the future. One example is shown here. Here we have built up an application with a frequency converter and a motor. And as you know, most of the times this system is using shielded cables. For example, I have here a 1.5 millimeter square cable, and it is shielded. And for this solution, for this application, we have developed a new solution. It's a shielded power module, which is able to connect a shielded cable. As you can see here on the sample, the module has here on the side near the module a shielding plate. So near the contacts, near the power contacts, we have a shielding plate which transfers the shield from the male side to the female side over the whole area. This is very important for the EMC aspects. So if you combine those modules into the frame, you can combine more than one module into one connector. For example, you can put in 3 or more such power lines into one modular connector. And as you can see here, near the next module, you have the shielding element. So for those customers who think it's not enough shielding, just only use the shielding on the power side is not enough. For those, we have developed another shielded solution. This is a shielded signal module. This is also brand new. The idea is more or less same. We have here a shielded module, similar as the unshielded signal module, but with an additional shielding plate near the signal contacts, so that we have 27 shielded pins into one connector module. This connector module is available in 2 versions. The simple version, just shield on the side here, and another upgraded version with an additional shielding here around the complete module. So this was a short overview about the things we have in the Han-Modular series. So altogether, you understand the advantages quite well. I hope so. You can combine several connectors into one, and this gives you, compared to 3 or 2 or more connectors, advantage to save space, cost, and installation time. So that's it for the connectors. Let's go back to Jakob and check if we got some questions from your side.
Yeah, thank you very much, Heiko. On this now, we would like to ask you if you have any questions and invite you to send us these questions. We have already some different questions. I will start with the first question. It is, you just said, I will read it. You just said that machine modules can be connected without trained personnel. How can it be avoided that connectors are mixed up and the wrong connector is connected by mistake? I think it's if you have 2 absolutely the same shape of connectors, and you have in a neighbor connectors, you have 2 exactly the same connectors. How I can avoid the...
Yeah, this is an important point. Of course, we have a solution for coding to avoid such mistakes. We have different options, for example, on small connectors. We have here the option to use small code pins. Probably you can see those red pins within the connector. So you can make a coding within the connector, or for bigger connectors, like those heavy-duty connectors, there's a simple but very efficient way. Just remove one of those fixing screws and put in a coding pin, and therefore you can make a coding, a very simple coding, so that you can have a coding with 6 different connectors in a very simple way. We have another more extended version with guide pins and pushes, so that you can make a coding with 16 different coding options. So altogether, you have for nearly all our connectors also a coding possibility, so that your customers are sure that they connect the right part to the right site.
Thank you, Heiko. So I'm looking for the next question. How do I select the right modules? I think it's especially for modular system, what you mentioned today.
Yeah, of course, the easiest way is to ask your HARTING experts. They can select for you the right solution, because they know those connectors very much in detail. But if you want to do it by your own, you can check our catalog, or the best option is to check online a configurator. Maybe Jakob, you can show this, how it is working online?
Yeah, I see that we have already started this overview, short overview. We have a configurator, as already mentioned. On the left side, you have to make your choosing what kind of connectors, what kind of transmissions you would like to have. On the right side, you have the working area, let me say, and then you have to make your choosing for connector type, for amperage and voltage of the connector. And after that, you have to make your choosing for the minimum of parameters, and after that you will get the proposals. To be honest, it is two different. I'm working with this tool more than Heiko because Heiko is an expert. So you have different offers on the left side. As you see, you can make a choosing and choose our modular connectors. On the right side, you can take our monoblock connectors. Monoblock means typical styled, let me say, old styled connectors. We will send you, to all of you, the link to this configurator also, with all data and material what we send after our session. I think it is enough. Heiko, what is your impression? For me, as not expert, it is the best way to make my choosing for connectors.
Yeah, you also have the option to as an expert, to work with this configurator.
So we have the next question. Won't there be issues if power and control circuits are taken together?
Of course, we cannot answer this in general for all applications, but my general answer is like this. If you combine power and signal lines together in a cable tray, maybe near a cable, power and signal line in a cable tray together, then it is no problem at all to combine this also in a connector. Because you can imagine a connector is just only a few centimeters and the cable tray is several meters. So the influence of a cable side by side is much higher than if you combine it into one connector. But of course, in some applications, it might be also an option to use two connectors instead of one. But in general, we got the experience that our customers don't have problems when combining power and signal into one connector.
I can only underline what Heiko said, because in my previous job I was development engineer for machines, for high-speed machines like packaging machines, and we have had some different connections in one connector. We use it. Thank you, Heiko. The next question is, can we mix control and power connectors for UL certified panel? So it's a little bit more deeper.
It can be done. So in general, the Han-Modular parts are UL certified. That means we have an UL listing for the modules, for the frames, and also for the housings. So UL has tested those modules. They are approved, and you can see also this UL listing online on the UL homepage. So we have done UL listing according to the UL 1977 and 2237. So the connector specs from UL.
Okay, thank you so much. So UL is also possible with our connectors. Yeah. The next question, so now I have to be careful with that. What are PVVA and PVVA2 HARTING connectors?
Yeah, this is also related to UL. So there is a new UL spec. It is, let's say, around about 3 years old spec. This is a UL 2237 and the UL 2238. This is a connector spec from UL, and we have listed or recognized our connector modules according to this spec. And as we have done this already as one of the first connector manufacturer, you can use our connector also for the PVVA and PVVA2. Yeah, just check it also on the UL homepage. There you can see those UL recognition according to this spec.
Thank you, Heiko. The next question is, which connectors can be used for Profinet?
Profinet, there you have different options. I will take a sample and show in the camera where it is. For example, we have a module with a 9-pin D-sub. So the so-called D-sub module is suitable for Profinet, but also for Profibus. And for Profinet, I mixed it up, sorry. For Profinet, you can use our Ethernet modules, for example, RJ45 or the gigabit module, which I have shown before. So we have different solutions for Profinet.
And also for different data cables also, if you have single connectors, of course, like M12 X-coded, like this.
Correct.
Thank you so much. The next question, many times the problem is a small housing for the cable connectors to the connector, for the cables connected to the connector. It is not possible to have oversized cases and with more outlets for shields, I think so, or for sheets.
Oh yeah, this is already a big, depends on some details. So for cabling, we have a new option where you can configure your cable entries in an online configurator where you need them. For example, this, as you can see here, this is a customized solution with different cable entries, and you can put those cable entries just exactly on the position where you need it. And there you can make the cabling much better according to your need. Let's say, for example, the big cable entry goes directly over the power module and so on. But in addition to those examples, we also have some bigger housings, for example, the HBR series, where you have more cabling room. And altogether, of course, this is sometimes a problem. You want to have a small housing, but many cables. Then you probably have to choose a bigger housing to make the cabling a bit easier.
Thank you, Heiko. So the short question, production is located in Germany, question?
The production is located mainly in Germany, but we also have further production plants in Asia. We have a production plant in Zhuhai, which is near Hong Kong. And we are also building up a new production facility in the US, in Chicago. But our main idea is to produce the parts where our customers are located. So in the region, for the region. That means for Europe, we produce in Germany. And let's say for Asian customers, we produce those parts also in Zhuhai. But if I take a more detailed look on the Han-Modular series, let's say 80% of the parts are produced in Germany. And the most relevant parts are also available from our production facilities in China.
Thank you, Heiko. And the next question is, can the connectors be used for clean room applications?
Yeah, of course. We have some customers in this market. For example, the semiconductor industry, they use our connectors in their equipment in clean room. So no problem at all. We also have special modular solutions which are suitable also for vacuum, so in extreme clean room applications. But in general, the answer is quite simple, yes.
Okay, thank you so much. I know, for example, for medical and so on, we have also for clean room in medical, where machines, for example, are using in medical applications. Thank you so much. This was the last question. Thank you, Heiko. Thank you all for joining us. And I see, or I hope, that we were able today to show you that the modularization approach is the best approach for you to meet the requirements of your customers. Based on this, you can master the complexity of your machines. But from our side, from HARTING side, we can guarantee you that we are able to support you for every type of solutions and for every type of different electromechanical layer. Everything what you need, we can offer you. Please ask our colleagues in our local subsidiaries. Please use our website, our configurators. All links will be sent after this session to you. And I think this is the best way now to say thank you and goodbye and stay healthy.
Yeah, thank you.